Welcome to Chording with Christmas. This is Lesson 5, Joy to the World in G major. We're going to be doing this song in 3 different levels. Level 1 is the easiest, level 3 is the hardest, and here are 2 different versions of the sheet music that you'll find in the sheet music package. You can find that if you click the info card or check the video description. This is the standard lead sheet version, and it's very tiny, so I'm going to set this one aside, and I'm going to use the Alpha Note version, which has all the little letter names written inside. In case you're not as strong at reading music, that won't hold you back on this lesson. So here in lesson number 5, we're doing Joy to the World again. We just did it in the key of C. Now we're going to learn it in the key of G so that we can play it in with different singers or maybe with guitar players. But the important thing to notice about G major is that it has an F sharp. So as we're coming down the first notes of the scale, we have the F, but it's going to be sharp. So I'm not going to teach you the individual notes for this song, but I am going to show you the different levels that you can play while you chord along. So assuming that you can play the right hand, we're going to draw our attention to these letters written above the staff. Those are chord notes, chord symbols, and they indicate a series of notes that you could play as the harmony with your left hand. So for now, our left hand is just going to play this in a nice, easy way. We're just going to play the note G anytime we see a G written here above. If we see an A with a little M beside it, we're just going to play A. If we see a D with a 7, we're just going to play the note D. And so every time that note changes, you play a new note in your left hand. So let's start here. I'm playing the G in the left, and now I'll play A in the left. G, D, G, and C, then D in the left, but F sharp in the right, and then both hands playing G. Long tie, coming down the notes, just a G in the left. This is level 1. G again, G again, and another G. Now a D. Good. Now G, G. I had one little extra note in there. And now D, and then G. Sometimes I have a hard time talking while I play. I'm not sure if you can relate to that, but we're all human. So that's level 1. Now, if you have a look at the chord reference sheet that comes in this package, you'll see that for lesson 5, we have the G major primary and secondary chords. And so what we see here is a series of chords. This is the G chord, and then we have an A minor chord, and then we also need the D7 chord, which is D, F sharp, A, and C. Now it just says F here, but the Fs are sharp because we're in G major. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play through this piece again, and we're going to play the full 3 notes of the chord every time we see a chord symbol. So if it says G, we'll play here as a G triad. If it says A minor, AM, we'll play the A minor chord. If it says D7, we'll play D, F sharp, A, C. Now this is going to involve a little bit of hopping around, so just bear with me. This is level 2A. There's a level 2B, which will sound better. So let's have a listen. Here we go, nice and slow. G major triad, another one. Now we'll go to A minor, just up and down. Now for D7, we'll come way up here. Or we could go down, would just be too low. Now we need a C chord. And that one you can find right here, it's the 2nd chord. Now a plain D chord, this one has no 7, so it's just a plain triad. Back to G. Here we go, next line. G, don't forget F sharp in your right hand. G major again. G major, here comes F sharp. G major. Here we go, G, next line. G again. Now we're going to hop right up and grab those 4 notes of D7 and back down to G major triad, G major again, big jump here, G to D7, back to G. So that's a full chord in each instance of the chord symbol. But what we're going to do next is we're going to grab our arrangements appendix sheet here from the back of your package, and you can see here for lesson 5, it shows you ways that you can create chord voicings. So what that means is instead of always hopping up and down, sometimes we can find these chords in a close position. So here, this D7, instead of playing D, F sharp, A, and C, we're going to play D and C here and F sharp here. We're not going to play the A at all. It's sort of an extra note that doesn't add too much to the sound of the chord. It gives enough harmony, and in fact the right hand is playing the A during that part of the melody. So here we're going to go between G major, A minor, G major, D7 with that F sharp, and back. Now you might have noticed I didn't have to hop around very much at all. And then in the second half of the piece we also need to play the C chord. And the C chord, if we look at the original sheet that we had before, this chord reference sheet, you'll see the C major triad is made of the notes C, E, and G. So to go from this G chord to a C chord, I can take C, E, and G right here. C, E, G. And from this one, I can do a D chord. Don't forget the F sharp. And I can go back to G. So C to D is pretty close. They're both just moving up one note. And then back to G. And then just practicing again the G to D7 to G. So that gives you all of the different transitions that you need for chords in your left hand by keeping them voiced or arranged in such a way that you can keep your individual fingers from hopping too much around the piano. So let's give that a try. Let's try playing the piece through using this arrangement. So I start off in my root position, G, and then another G. Now I'm just going to go up and down, but for this D7, look at that, it's just right there. And then we're going to go on to the next line. We're going to have the C chord, and then the D major, so we need an F sharp, and B, G, back again in our root position. Next line, G. This is a lot of G chords. We'll just keep playing them. Nice and easy. Alright, here we have that D7, so we need to come down. So you can see that's right here. This is G, D7, G, and I'm going to finish my line here. B, A, G, octave, still a G chord. Now G to D7, back to G. So I think you'll agree that's a lot easier to do with your left hand than hopping everywhere for each new chord. Alright, that's level 2B. Now for level 3, we need our chord arrangement pattern sheet. So here is the chord arrangement pattern sheet, and it's found at the back of this package as well. And for each individual chord, you can choose to do a similar type of thing. So this is the G chord, and this shows the C chord. So the C chord in root position would then translate into the G chord in root position. We could play them more than once to give rhythm within the chord, and then we start to do a few fancy things, which is play bottom, top, or bottom, top, middle, top. So that gives you 4 beats of sound with those notes. Here you could go bottom, top, and then go an octave down. So if your top note's D, your octave down would be another D. So these are some different ways you could play these chords. So let's just give this a try. Let's start with this beginning, and let's just try this nice, easy. So what did I do there? I hit the note A minor, and instead of playing, I was really on the very last beat of 4, so instead of trying to fit something fancy in, I just played the single note A, back from level 1. So that's one way we could do this. Another way we could do it is we could look down here. One of my favorites is playing the root 5th octave, so the 1-5-8 pattern. So in the chord of C, that would be the root, the top note of the triad, and then another root, and there's C. So there we have root 5th root. So if I was doing that for a G chord, I'd have G, D, G, A minor. If I did a D7, I would include this C at the top. Instead of reaching the 5th and the octave, I would just reach the 5th and then the 7. So let's see what we can do here, maybe using that sort of a pattern. So we'll start at the beginning of the piece. Now I didn't have enough time to do the full pattern there, and I just played fifths instead. So something like this one, half of this for each of those two chords. I could have also sped up my left hand. I could have gone, but that would have sounded better if I had been going really quickly, which is good too. So this is, my left hand is doing 1, 5, 8. I just did it twice. 1, 5, 8. 1, 5, 8. 1, 5, 8. I could go down. 1, 5, 7, because it's a 7 chord. So that was using this 1, 5, 8 pattern. There's so many ways you could do this. We could do this sort of a boogie woogie pattern. Let's see what we think about that. Starting with the G chord. That's kind of different. We can also do a little bit of a walking bass, so like walking down from the notes. Let's see what that works like. This one I like with Jingle Bells, but let's go. And then G. So you may or may not like the walking pattern, but that's okay. You can play it any way you want. So now I'm going to go through and play the whole piece from the top, using all different types of patterns from this suggestion. Here we go. Oh, I just did a G scale there. That was kind of fun. Sorry, it's not in the music, but it was really long G, so I just played G scale down 1, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now I'm here. So there you have it. You can play these any way you like using this chord arrangement pattern. And come on back for our next lesson, which will be God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen in the key of E minor, which is quite related to the key of G. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.